Hi, everybody. Welcome to WCAX. We're looping in Sophia today. Let's talk about EV and especially EVs and EV sales. So you just did a story on some changing, regulations for EV sales.
Yep.
So before we talk about the change, let's talk about what was stopped, basically.
Sure. So
Yeah.
these were rules that Vermont put in place in 2022 based on
Yeah.
rules that California passed that set certain standards in place for the number of zero emission vehicles.
Okay.
That includes passenger vehicles, trucks, and buses that manufacturers would have to sell. So starting in 2026, each year they'd be held to a certain percentage of sales that would need to encompass those types of cars, with the goal by 2035 that light passenger vehicles and trucks would be at 100%. They'd be hitting that number of sales.
And
So that was what was in place.
Okay, and then you went to went to a dealership here. They're going to cause for concern there as far as like how they're going to essentially keep up, right?
Yeah, so, going back to what just happened, Governor Scott put a pause on these requirements, and he cited a couple of different reasons. Tariffs are making some of the car manufacturing equipment more expensive. A lot of dealerships have expressed, and drivers have expressed, there not being enough EV chargers in Vermont. But the biggest thing that we're hearing a lot about is that dealerships felt like they weren't ready.
Yeah.
And that's because some of them have said that manufacturers were holding them to a certain standard and saying, you need to sell the EV version of this car before you sell the gas-powered version.
Okay.
And so by that means they're saying, well, we don't have enough demand for these EV vehicles, and does that mean we're not going to be able to have enough gas-powered vehicles on the lot to meet customer demands? And so they started raising some of those concerns. So that is what Governor Scott cited as part of the reason for this pause.
Yeah, and that pause lasts until when?
Until December 31st
Yep.
of 2026.
Okay.
It could be rescinded. That would mean the governor and the agency of
They had natural resources. There you go. Yeah.
Thank you. The ANR, they would have to both come to that agreement to rescind.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think, especially for prospective car buyers, it's a big deal just as far as trying to find a new set of wheels, especially be more climate conscious, I guess. So
Sure.
Yeah.
And, the dealership I spoke with and the state, they are still held to a certain standard. The state is asking them, continue pushing out EVs. This does not mean that manufacturers are suddenly not going to be, making EVs
Yes.
and dealerships
Yeah.
will be selling them. It's not that, but they're not held to that requirement that was more of like, by this date you need to be meeting this mark. It's not that anymore for now.
No, absolutely. Well, we'll take a look at who you talked to here as far as what they said with the cars in their lot. But
Sure.
Sophia, thanks so much for hopping on again. It was a little
Happy
quick
to.
one, but
Yes.
we'll get that up and going.
Kind of bring it up to people based on their wants and needs.
As pressure mounted to sell more zero-emission vehicles, Cody Root with Key Motors of South Burlington worried they wouldn't make the mark.
It was kind of grim for at some points. Like, how are we going to pull this off? It just wasn't going to happen. We are one of the top EV dealers in the zone for Chevrolet EV sales, and we weren't even close to those numbers.
Car dealerships across Vermont expressed the same fears. Some say manufacturers push them to sell ZEVs before internal combustion engine vehicles, something Vermont's rules don't require. State leaders say that fueled Governor Scott's decision to pause ZEV sale requirements.
The concerns being raised by dealers were if they were unable to sell that EV ratio, then they would see declining inventory of internal combustion engine vehicles available on their lots and to Vermonters.
But some climate experts argue a full pause isn't the solution. Ben Edgerly-Walsh with Vermont Public Interest Research Group believes Governor Scott could have just paused requirements for zero-emission trucks and buses, a newer market with less demand. It's something other states have done to keep passenger ZEV sales moving.
It's very clear that manufacturers could actually meet these rules.
The state's own data shows some car manufacturers have already met the 2026 requirement for passenger vehicles. The state says they're still pushing manufacturers to sell ZEVs, but Edgerly-Walsh says that might not be enough to keep manufacturers and Vermont's climate goals on track.
By delaying enforcement in the near term, there's a very real chance that the Scott administration's actually making it harder for manufacturers to comply with this over the medium to long term.
Back at Key Motors, Root says dealerships need more state support, like charging infrastructure build-out and rebates if they're to meet ZEV sale requirements.
Doesn't, I guess, help. Like we have to basically just advertise such a low price to get people to make it appealing.
Interesting tidbit there, from our Sophia Thomas, especially as a lot of people are still looking to buy new cars here, huh, Peter? Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. But if you are, headed out for a drive today, right?
Yeah.
I don't think the windows are going to cut it here.
Yeah, no matter what car you have, you're probably going to want that air conditioning happening not only today, tomorrow, but then even more so into next week. And as a matter of fact, we have gone ahead and issued a first alert weather day here for the day tomorrow, because we're talking about a hot, humid, and even stormy day for your day tomorrow. This running through the entirety of your day. Thursday, we got a hot and humid afternoon. Then we're going to keep an eye on the chance of a few afternoon and evening thunderstorms. That heat and humidity, going to be talking about heat indices upwards of 90 degrees. So that's how it actually feels outside. And then also to go along with that heat and humidity, a few strong to potentially severe thunderstorms here through tomorrow afternoon as well as into the first part of tomorrow evening. For now, we are pretty quiet here on satellite and radar. We did have a few rain showers pushed to the area last night. Those now basically over and done with. You got a bit more sunshine the further north you are, more clouds, maybe a few more passing rain showers the further south you go. Although I do think most of us find at least a few breaks of sunshine here through the afternoon hours today. To go along with that heat and humidity, there is the chance that a few thunderstorms kind of bubbling up here and there in nature through this afternoon. But again, not a whole lot of activity, especially compared to what we see here as we head into your day tomorrow. Pick up Futurecast again tomorrow morning. A mixture of sunshine and clouds out there. Gradually get a little bit more sunshine going into midday tomorrow. Then it's as we head towards tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow evening, start to see a few showers and thunderstorms push through the area. It's really between about 2 and 7 o'clock tomorrow that we start to see the better chance of a few thunderstorms out there. Again, a few of these, especially those central and southern Vermont, could potentially be on the stronger side to potentially severe, pushing out of our area as we head towards lighter in the 6 o'clock hour and towards 7 p.m. Then after that, it's just a few leftover rain showers here through the rest of your Thursday night and into the early morning hours for Friday. We have a level 2 out of 5 risk here for severe weather in place for your day tomorrow. That means we are expecting some potentially scattered severe thunderstorms. The biggest threats that we're going to keep an eye on, probably primarily gusty winds, potentially a few gusts upwards of 50 plus miles per hour. There is the potential that maybe some small hail. Again, some localized flash flooding possible, especially where we see some heavier downpours set up. Tornadoes not a huge concern tomorrow, but there could potentially maybe be a brief spin up here and there, but again, not a huge concern for your day tomorrow. The other thing that we talked about is that heat and humidity. As a matter of fact, take a look at the real field temperatures tomorrow afternoon, approaching, if not exceeding, that 90-degree mark in a lot of locations. Today, already off to a pretty mild and muggy start to the day, 60s and 70s out there. Most of us back towards the 80s come this afternoon. It comes with a chance at a few isolated showers and thunderstorms here through the afternoon and evening hours today. Tonight, we fall back into the 60s and 70s, so we're staying pretty mild. We're staying pretty sticky out there tonight. Partly cloudy skies overhead. A tad warmer for your day tomorrow. Also, the better chance at thunderstorms here through your day tomorrow as well. Again, some of those thunderstorms tomorrow afternoon and tomorrow evening could potentially be on the stronger side of things. So take a look at what it does to our temperatures. It knocks down our temperatures ever so briefly here for both Friday and Saturday, but then we come roaring back for Sunday and Monday. Take a look at Monday. Actual daytime highs here Monday, probably meeting or exceeding that 90-degree mark for a lot of locations, and we have gone ahead and issued a first alert weather days, I should say, for both Monday and Tuesday, just because we're going to be talking about actual air temperatures in the 90s. Those real field temperatures, John, could be even meeting or exceeding the 100-degree mark. So definitely some real heat and humidity on the way to start off next week. Looks like Monday and Tuesday are the real hot days. Then we find a little bit of relief as we head towards midweek next week.
Yeah, definitely, crank the AC, stay cool, grab an ice cream, do whatever you got to do to kind of just get through it here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I feel like we've been talking about so far in the late or spring and early part of the summer that we've been kind of a bit below normal.
Yeah.
Now we're kind of
know.
truly showing our summer-like tendencies here. And again, the first day of summer on Friday.
Yeah, it's definitely going to feel like it.
Yep.
Yeah, thank you, Peter. Thank you for watching Channel 3 on WCAX Extra.
Yeah.
I don't talk about where you are, but that is for us here. You'll see us Channel 3 News at noon, and of course all of our content at WCAX.com. Till then, take care.